Hi guys, this is Kiri hailing from Get2Know-Politics and welcome to the first of this series where I'll be explaining and simplifying the UK's government and political system. This is part of our school project where Justus, Dzhem and I set ourselves the goal of teaching you about various political basics and how you can involve yourself in it. For now, the three countries we wanted to focus on are Germany, which is our home country, the USA, and the one that I'll be covering in this and, spoilers, the next video, the United Kingdom. Now to get started, let's get a quick look at the UK. The UK, located in Northern Europe, is made up of England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, which all share one common government despite all having separate government entities as well. Today, however, I will only focus on the four nations' united governmental structure and its important roles before I tell you everything you need to know about the voting system in the next video. So if you don't want to miss that or any other videos in the future, be sure to hit that subscribe to never miss an upload. And just as a quick warning before we deep dive into it, the UK's government isn't the easiest to understand, even if I have simplified it quite a bit, but with this knowledge given to you in the coming minutes, you should know everything you need to know to get a good picture of how it functions. So let's just get into it by starting with the UK's most important individual from a governmental standpoint. Now most people would probably assume this is the Queen, as she's the monarch and overall the most well-known person from all of the UK. However, while she does play an important role, which I'll get to in a bit, the person we'll actually be focusing on now is the Prime Minister, who is the head of Her Majesty's government. A role currently occupied by Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister positions one of the key parts of the general election, which happens every 5 years. The Prime Minister is the person who is ultimately responsible for every policy and every decision made. He oversees the actions of all the government agencies and of the civil service, which includes services that are directly applied to the public, from things like paying pensions and benefits to issuing driver's licenses. One of the Prime Minister's main jobs, while being the principal government figure in the House of Commons, is picking his ministers from both the House of Commons and the House of Lords, both important governmental institutions I will get to in a moment. But before that, let's quickly learn a bit more about the ministers. Like I said, the ministers are selected by the Prime Minister, and there is 119 in total, one of which is the Prime Minister himself. 21 are cabinet ministers, who meet up once every week during Parliament to discuss the most important issues, and 97 who are generally classified as others. Ministers are responsible for their respective government department or agency's success or failure. And on a quick side note, a government department or agency is responsible to set the government's policies in certain areas in action. 23 of these are called ministerial departments, like the Ministry of Health and Social Care or the Ministry of Defence. There are well over 400 other government departments and agencies, and should you wish to see a complete list, there will be a link in the description. Also, this is a good time to point out that there will be links to all the main sources of our research regarding the topics of this video, as well as links to all of our other platforms like Twitter or Reddit down below. Now, with the important individual roles in the UK's government out of the way, let's focus on one of its most important parts, which is the Parliament. The Parliament is the main body of the UK's government and somewhat the UK's equivalent to what most of us Germans would know as the Bundestag, since that is hugely important in Germany's government. And if you wish to learn more about Germany's government, make sure to check out the video Justus made on it. Parliament is the place where the two big houses of the government, the House of Commons and the House of Lords, come together separately at the Palace of Westminster, located in London. These two houses work on behalf of the UK citizens to check and challenge the work of the government, make effective laws and discuss important issues. But let's get some more information on these two houses, what they do and what separates them. I'll start with the House of Commons, or also known as the lower house of Parliament, which features 650 members of Parliament, or MPs for short, which have all been elected by the public in the general elections. These MPs consider and propose laws and scrutinise government policies by asking the ministers questions about relevant issues and topics. The House of Commons is the effective legislative authority in the UK, holding the exclusive right to impose taxes and vote to or withhold money from various public departments, making it an incredibly powerful and hugely important part of the UK's government, while also being the only main part of it the public gets to vote. Next up is the House of Lords. The House of Lords, also called the Upper House of Parliament, contains 800 plus members, or so-called peers. These peers may get their title through different ways. Roughly 11% of them get them through inheritance, 86% are called life peers since they hold their title for their own lifetimes but are not able to pass them on, and the remaining 3% include 24 bishops and 2 archbishops. Its powers are extremely limited since every bill, which is the word for a proposed law, involving money or taxation proposed by the House of Commons, will become law 1 month after being sent to the House of Lords with or without its consent. Despite that, they play a very significant role in the Parliament thanks to their most useful function, which is the revision of bills that the House of Commons hasn't formulated clearly and/or in enough detail. So it plays a crucial role in examining bills, questioning government actions, and investigating public policies. They can also theoretically introduce, amend, delay, or veto bills, although most of these have hardly ever happened in recent history. So in summary, the House of Commons considers and proposes laws, which are then checked by the House of Lords, which is able to send the proposed law back to the House of Commons because of unclear wording or missing detail, so they can rework it before it gets passed. Now, with both of the Parliament's main parts explained, there's one final thing to cover, which is the one I've mentioned all the way at the start: the Queen, aka the Crown, aka the monarch of the UK, who has two major roles in the UK's governing. The first is to open and dissolve Parliament, while the second is much more important, as she's the person who has to ultimately approve bills before they become law. And with that, you should now have all of the basic information you need to get a grasp of the UK's government. Like I said earlier, our main sources of information regarding this topic are down below if you want to read more about the different parts of the UK's government or just want to refresh your memory. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, feel free to give it a like and subscribe to the Get to Know Politics channel to never miss an upload. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.